Plucking creative content out of thin air can be a bit challenging, but not with the right roadmap. Here's 20 radio ideas that could transform your station from drab to fab.
This video is made by Radio.co. To start your free Radio.co trial in seconds, head to Radio.co and click on the pricing page.
Cover news and politics. The most popular podcasts and radio shows are typically political ones or shows that talk about news and current affairs. They stir the most controversy, the most online discussion, the most debate. Equally, they garner the most interest because politics affect everyone, whether we like it or not. So it makes sense that broadcasters capitalise on this trend, and it should make sense that you should as well. It really is a surefire way to get some listeners in, but tread carefully. Don't forget that these are very delicate topics to broach, and if you're planning to fix in a heavy dose of your own personal opinion, well, just be aware that you might alienate listeners who don't agree with you. And what with all the horrible stuff going on in the world, some people just like to escape from that through their media intake. So they might not want much news or current affairs beyond a quick 1-minute update, and that's okay too. Consider what audience you want and what they'd like first and foremost. News and politics, great way to boost your listeners, but not without its risks. Talk about culture. Much like politics, culture affects us all. Culture, though, is part of us as soon as we're born. Whether it be our heritage, our traditions, or art that we consume, we are all informed and shaped by culture, which is what makes it such a compelling subject for your radio show. After all, culture's a pretty broad topic, to be honest. In our era of technology and information, cultures from all around the globe are far more accessible to us than they ever were before. So there's endless aspects of endless cultures that you could cover. And within that, there's a potential for inviting endless interesting guests on. Make it fun, make it educational, whatever you want. An idea of some topics you could cover: local culture, foreign culture, traditions, cultural attitudes, and the art produced within those cultures. Take BBC Radio 4's enormously popular culture show In Our Time, for example. That focuses on poems, novels, plays, and the people who wrote them. Music discussion. Almost every radio station plays music, and it's where people come to fall in love with music. So don't just play it, talk about it. In fact, never shut up about it. Here's the pitch: review singles, concerts, albums, maybe even go on site to a festival. This is one topic where your audience are really open to hearing your honest opinion about things. They want to hear you talk freely and openly. So let them get to know you and your taste better. Think Six Music. Almost every show is dedicated to music. Either they're hosted by famous musicians, they're covering festivals, whatever the shtick, Six Music are there. And you should be as well. So, after playing a song, don't just leave it there, give your thoughts. And even if you're not keen on the tune, you can always put an entertaining spin on your disdain for a track. Talk TV and movies. Another topic of freely critiquing things literally just for the fun of it: movies. Mark Commodes of the world, it's your time to even be able to get some Marty Scorsese types in your chair to interview. Present a gaming show. Take gaming out of your den in the dark at 4 AM into, well, the daytime and on the radio. Okay, so my wording wasn't great, but video games are undeniably one of the most popular hobbies in the world. So put it this way, you won't be struggling to find an enthusiastic audience. There's plenty of podcasts out there about gaming. Similarly, there's plenty of YouTube channels out there dedicated to gaming, but there is a bit of a gap in the market. There aren't many radio shows out there specifically dedicated to gaming, and equally, there's not many entire radio stations dedicated to gaming, so fine dine your listeners with food and drink. Enjoy cooking? Well, bring your listeners into the kitchen with you. Yeah, I know it might be a bit of a tight squeeze, but make room, let them in. Discuss what you've been cooking lately and keep it accessible for everyone. Bear in mind everyone's dietary issues, dietary requirements. Present meals across a whole spectrum: vegetarian, vegan, pescatarian, meat eaters, whatever. whatever, just make sure you're doing it broad and inclusive for your entire audience to enjoy. Part of it keeping it accessible for everyone is also keeping the language fun, snappy, not too complex. Think Anthony Bourdain or other TV chefs' attitudes towards educational and fun ways of showing cooking. TV chefs do really know how to accentuate the art of food, so try and make that translate to the airwaves yourself. A great example of this kind of radio cooking show is Chef's Table on WHYY. It's a cooking show that discusses nutrition, interviews chefs, and shows us a bunch of recipes. Travel talk. Audiences love to be transported by radio, particularly those who can't travel for whatever reason. So how about examining the places you've already visited or the places you plan to visit in the future? Choose your travel niche. Could it be suggested itineraries for cities? Could it be a continent-specific travel segment? How about favouring more natural geography than man-made pieces, or vice versa, etc, etc? The possibilities are endless. At the end of the day, every country has a wealth of cultural, geographical and architectural history that you can delve into with your listeners. Plus, shows like this invite sponsorships and offers for free stays in exchange for honest reviews, so you can book the Bahamas in and also be a radio superstar. Think about that. Speaking sports. Sports are an interesting topic to many. Millions, in fact. Not really to me, but to many. Every year, millions tune into sports radio, eager to hear all about their sports stars or the recent game. Maybe they want to hear from pundits. That's what they're called, right? Sports coverage is super lucrative, and again, it's another one that you can let your free opinions flow. You can build up some great discussion with your listeners, and also it can be a great way to break into an already established fan base. And we know what a large, already established fan base means. A large, already established listener base. Yes, people, yes. Speculate on science. Science is always progressing and innovating. It presents us with new ways to interact with the world and one another. And really, isn't that what great radio is about as well? They're more similar than you think. Consider ideas and innovations going on in the world today and how they affect us. Maybe you'd like to talk about that. You could even carry out your own science experiments and discuss the outcomes with your listeners. You could go the educational route or the discussional route. Don't worry if you're not an official scientist. We're not all Bill Nye the Science Guy. It's absolutely fine to just have a casual interest in science, but still educate the masses. You're just educating yourself in the process. It's a win-win. The thing is, with radio, it's more about the interest and the passion that you have, not about the wealth of knowledge. Help relationships on the rocks. Relationship problems are something we can all relate to. Consider Dr. Laura or Ruth Westheimer. They've candidly discussed relationships and more personal matters on the airwaves with their listeners to millions of eager viewers. And listeners for these types of shows tend to be very loyal and always return for future advice. There's a huge market for it. And whether it be friends, family, colleagues, marriages, whatever the case, relationships are so broad, there's so much scope to discuss. At the end of the day, no relationship is smooth sailing 24/7. And yeah, that is sad, but also it's great for your radio show. Ask your listeners to send in questions and you can build a relationship with them the more they call. Think Sleepless in Seattle. You will become a trusted figure for them. Now, again, nobody's saying you have to be qualified and certainly don't give out any clinical advice. But sometimes all you need is someone impartial to listen and help you through something. Hey, how about covering health? If you have a background in health or fitness, or even just a keen interest in wellness and all things looking after yourself, this could be a great idea for your show. There's a whole host of things you could make a radio show out of here, a whole station out of. Gym stuff, nutrition, mental health, meditation, yoga, endless. You can make it more accessible by catering it towards people wanting to get fit at home, or you could cater your content specifically to be listened to in wellness spaces or gyms. You could even invite specialist guests on your show to answer any questions that your listeners might have about fitness. Again though, just be aware if you're doing any kind of doctor segment, I think you actually have to be a doctor. I think there's like a law against that. So yeah, don't be giving out serious advice. Maybe enlist a professional here and there, a radio doctor, something like that. But yeah, celebrity gossip. I personally refuse to believe that even the most celebrity opposed aren't interested in the tea, the gossip, the drama. Celebrity gossip culture was a lot more toxic back in the 2000s. Back then there was a huge culture of online blogging and being less than kind. These days it's different, and yes, it is equally as nosy, but it's mostly harmless fun. Often it's just speculation about people's favourite celebrities. And there really is still such a big market for celebrity gossip today. Topics could include who's dating who, feuds, scandals, breakups, back-togethers, babies. Oh my goodness, the drama. There's just so much. Celeb gossip truly is the well that never runs dry. Chatting about conspiracy theories. Put your tinfoil hats on, fellas. Conspiracy theories are outlandish, ridiculous, and totally unbelievable. And yet, to quote the fella from Knives Out, compels me though. And it seems to compel many other listeners as well. Coast to Coast AM on Premier Networks is probably the most famous example of this, and arguably one of the most famous radio stations of all time. It discusses topics relating to paranormal activity and conspiracy theories. There's a real psychology there behind why people are so interested in them and why we still keep seeking out conspiracy theories, even though we might not believe in them. Look, I'm not saying at all that you should convince your listeners to believe in certain theories. I'm just saying offering well-balanced and well-explained looks at theories could be a fascinating dissection. It really could. So why not test conspiracy theories, examine them and see how valid they might actually be? And if you do prove a conspiracy to be fake, well, think about where they came from. Have a chat about that. A historical radio show. On the opposite side of that speculative coin are cold, hard historical facts. Expand your radio ideas and educate the masses about history. Explore famous people or events that shaped the world today as we know it, or consider those less well known and forgotten who still made an impact on us. On this day style shows are quite common throughout radio. These are of course where you examine what happened on that day of your particular broadcast in the past. It's a reliable strategy for getting your listeners' attention. Getting your listeners' attention is also your job, it's not just the show's format. After all, it's up to you how you present that information. You could make it fun and digestible, a la horrible histories, or direct your niche to the real history buffs. The choice is yours. Got a game show idea? Set up your own game show and truly make your listeners feel like part of the experience. If you haven't the funds to provide your winner with a hefty prize, well, that's okay. Sometimes if they're a good enough challenge, radio quizzes are just fun to take part in, no matter what the win might be. Invite guests to call in and participate. Get them against each other. It's fun listening, it's fun participating, and it's fun hosting. There's a wealth of game show formats out there you can choose from, or you could get creative and try something brand new. Take inspiration from classic radio shows like Just a Minute on BBC Radio 4. This requires contestants to speak for 1 minute on any subject, uninterrupted, no repeats. It's actually really difficult. The thing is, if the idea's foundations are there, you can take it anywhere. Grab some guests. Some radios aren't about anything per se, they don't have a fixed topic, so it's up to the host and their guests to carry the weight of entertaining their audience. This can often just come in an organic form as well. An authentic connection is really lovely to listen to. And in fact, a conversation even about the most mundane things can still be a delight to have on in the background. It makes people feel a bit less alone and it's quite a social event for many. So you've got to make sure you've got a good guest and then you can plan your show around them. Some shows will have a straight interview format like interview with X person, show with X person. Discuss your guests' lives, their work, their plans for the future, build that connection. And if you disagree on something, try some friendly debate. Ditch the chit chat, go documentary style. If you've got the right topic, this can be a game changer for your radio station. Documentaries may seem on the surface like a bit of a dry and boring thing to broach, but they have the potential to become fascinating global sensations. Louis Theroux, Tiger King, etc, need I go on. Radio docs are no different and still just as cool a concept. Each week investigates a new topic. Again, it's up to you the vision that you have for your station or your show. Vice, for example, they cover gritty stories, so uncovering dark underbellies, drugs, scandals, you know, whereas your topic could be a bit softer, maybe dissect a genre of music or a known public figure, or maybe uncover some secrets. And don't forget to use accurate and interesting sources. Try out true crime or don't. It's admittedly an oversaturated podcast and radio market. Plus there is a lot of moral hang-ups about stations and content like this, how disconnected we become from the real life horrors of the crimes we discuss, often in light-hearted ways. They can often, without meaning to, come off a little bit disrespectful to families. But there's no denying it, they are very, very popular. People's morbid curiosity will always draw them to the gruesome. Listen, I'm not discouraging you from starting a true crime radio station or show if your heart so desires, go ahead. I'm just advising to do it respectfully. Attempt ASMR. I say attempt because there's certainly some saliva sprayage involved, but the autonomy sensory meridian response hype is very real. You could dedicate one daily show to ASMR. You could even do it around bedtime to help your listeners get to sleep, build a bond with them, where your show would help them go to dreamland every night. So they'd keep coming back for more. Oh, can I stop whispering now? That is difficult. That is difficult, especially for a yapper like me. Above all, appeal to niches. Anthology series are all the rage these days. Even with radio and podcasting, topics like the aforementioned true crime craze can fit nice and neatly into an anthology series. But you don't have to stick to the norm. In fact, I implore you not to. Why not explore topics that don't get as much attention? Focusing on niche subjects can attract a unique and dedicated audience starved for content. They might have never heard someone on the radio talking about their particular interest. Examples of niche topics could be literally anything. Minimalism, crystal healing, macrame, Glee seasons 1 to 3. You won't be the only person in the world interested in it. Or interested in talking about it, honest. As you could probably tell, I could have gone all day here because the thing is, radio ideas are 10 a penny. Let us know on socials how you felt about this video. Hope we helped. Ta-ta!
And just before you go, have you ever thought about launching your very own internet radio station? Surprisingly, it's a lot easier than you may think, especially when you make the time to chat to myself or a member of the Radio.co team. To do just that, head to our website, radio.co/demo, where I can talk about your plans, any questions you may have, and me and the team can really get you up to speed in launching your own internet radio station in literally minutes. It couldn't be easier. Why not check out some of our webinars, tutorials, help guides situated around me? Or why not visit our website, Radio.co, or even drop me an email, studio@radio.co. Until next time, take care and happy broadcasting.